And we just got the final number for NXT on the CW for this week's show. The final rating has dropped. NXT scored a 672K, up from last week's 631K. JR9's NXT report and yesterday's upload, or should I say earlier today, that was a full Dynamite live review. If you guys look in the comments of that upload that was just put up a few hours ago, JR9's NXT Weekly Roundup, JR9 did say in the final analysis of his report, and I quote, "It was better than last week for sure, with a strong main event." Well, JR9 nailed it, because indeed they went up 41, 51, 61, 7, 41,000 viewers. They're in the right direction. They're headed on the right trajectory. NXT, 631 last week, 672 this week. For AEW, we are still awaiting their final tally, guys. We do not have a final number for AEW Dynamite from last night's show. If it pops up on my screen at any time during this recording, I will absolutely drop that number to you guys. But as of right now, no AEW number. If we go off the air, if this recording does indeed conclude without that number, feel free. Any one of you guys, my Amplified Unit subscribers, channel members, drop it in the comments below the AEW Dynamite rating. I'm sure they will not be happy with, but if they score anywhere between a 675 to 750K, I'm sure they'll just walk and not look back. Take it and try to make steps to improve in the future. Anything under 675, of course, now you're going below your new average even. And I'm sure they don't want to go backwards. They don't want to stay stagnant, and they don't want to go backwards. Now, I know 675 is not a good number, but I mean, you have to at least keep pace with NXT, which again was 672 this week. So at least get your average and a little bit more. The problem was this week's AEW show good enough to do that? BC watched the entire show last night. I recorded it for you guys. I put that entire 2-hour plus show. I put it up a few hours ago. My thoughts in real time. We've never done anything like that on the channel. So I thank you guys, everyone that already caught that. It was quite the experience, and it was quite the experiment. And I can't say that I'm going to do it again. At least not for that show. If you guys saw that upload a few hours ago, you know what I'm talking about. But that's on the numbers front, guys. We're still awaiting AEW NXT 672. All right, today's Amped Up Show with BC. We are going to rock out a packed, jacked, stacked show for you guys today. And I'm not just saying that because it's my show and I'm supposed to say that. I'm saying that because just listen to some of these topics we're going to go over, man. WWE has just filed for a trademark, Edge, and it is absolutely what you think. Name and intellectual property for wrestling character use. Now, you guys know you don't need BC to tell you this, although I will later when we go over this. There's only two reasons WWE would do that, right? Why would WWE right now trademark Edge? Two reasons. And if you don't know, you're about to know. We're going to go over that in today's upload. Also, AEW is doing a smart thing. One thing they are doing right, that they're going to, and it's not admitting defeat. In the long run, it's not going to hurt them. It's actually going to help them. But in the short term, yes, optic-wise, it's not a good look. Optic-wise, it's going to make them look bad a little bit. But you have to remember, WWF, WCW, they all did the same thing. Tony Khan just tried to bypass it too quickly. And they realized they were getting hurt. They realize they're wounded, and they're going to go back. They're going to backtrack, retrace their steps, and do things correctly this time. What is the big thing that Tony Khan is finally saying, all right, we screwed up. we're going to do it the right way. We're going to talk about what that big thing is, because it is huge, and it's starting already, and it's really going to take place in 2025. And I think this is going to be best in the long run for AEW. They still have 1,000 of other issues, but this is a huge first step. We'll talk about what that is in this upload. So WWE trademarking for Edge, there's only 2 reasons they would do that. AEW doing this big, making this big change. A superstar just signed from WWE to a big talent agency. You guys know what it is, Paradigm. I'm not shocked at that. What it does make BC ask the question, and I put this individual, this female talent, I put her on a pedestal. Even though she's still green in many areas, and in many aspects, she still has so much farther to go. I put her up on a pedestal because I just see star. Just a superstar. But now I have to ask the question. It's a question I've asked in the past, but I do have to ask it with this signing as well. Is her heart really in this? It pains me to say that because I really do. I love this gal. I put her up on a pedestal. I see the potential. Is her heart in it? We'll talk about who it is and why I asked the question. We're also going to talk Tyson and Logan Paul. The seeds were planted after Jake Paul and Tyson on Netflix. And Tyson basically asking, I'll do another fight if it's with this guy, Logan, Jake's brother, former U.S. champion in WWE. To which Logan Paul said, Mike, I fucking kill you. Mike Tyson just kind of smirked. So the seeds were kind of planted. Was that already planted from the beginning? Kind of like Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, after Brock lost that big UFC fight and Brock walked by Taker. And because Brock lost, they didn't know if they should still set up their WrestleMania angle. So that kind of got thrown off the tracks. Mike lost pretty dominantly. He didn't get knocked out, but that's only because Jake Paul didn't want to knock him out. So Tyson just had a really poor performance and then tries calling out Logan Paul. Guys, BC is going to tell you the one massive reason that cannot happen in WWE. And I always say, anytime we get to see Mike Tyson or put him in a storyline, sold. So why is BC saying, no way can this happen? Guys, it's pretty obvious, right? There should be no debate about this. This one reason I'm going to give you is a mic drop. There's no way we can see Tyson and Paul in WWE for this one reason, and it will be a mic drop. And lastly, we will be talking about Tony Khan's what became controversial comments, but is there truth to it? TK says, and I quote, most of the top black wrestlers in the world are in AEW. Does he have a point? Is he accurate? Over in the E, guys like Montez, maybe even Mello, Bianca, ladies like Bianca, maybe they have something to say about that. Independents that have a lot of extremely just great black talent. What do you mean you have most of the best black wrestlers in AEW right now? But is this just Tony Khan being proud of what he has and maybe taking it to the line? Did he go out of bounds, though, or did he stay in bounds? He took it to the line, but some people are going not so fast. We'll talk about it. It became a controversial comment, but I will tell you guys this, what I am so glad Tony Khan did do with one of his black male talents, and it's something that Vince McMahon never did and never even gave an opportunity to, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley never did and never gave an opportunity to. So no matter if you love him, you hate him, you like him, you don't like him, we got to give props to TK for this one move that he made with one of his black talents for sure, and we hope that keeps going in the future with other talents. I told you guys, it's a pack, jack, stack show. I tried to tell you anyway. So when it's about when we're going over discussions that are just a little deeper than others want to get into, you know we're going to rock it out, whether they're controversial topics or not. If it's an elephant in the room, if it's a hot take, you know we're probably going to be talking about it on this channel. So that's what we're going to do. Listen, full disclosure, guys, I downed this right before we started recording, so I'm all out of my Starbucks. double shot hazelnut latte. But I'm going to take you guys to the opening signature. I'm going to fire up a new coffee, a Dunkin' Extra Extra. You guys are going to come right on back, and we're going to go over all these topics and a lot more. So fresh coffee. You guys are going to the opening signature. Come back. Let's do this. All right. Starbucks got das Boot. Starbucks got booted. It's out with the old, in with the new. We got the Dunkin' taking center stage. Before we get into everything that I aforementioned in the cold open teaser, massive shout out to Jimmy Fingers 19, a $50 banger bomb. Super thanks, super chat. And I believe it was yesterday's upload, correct? That was when I originally just asked the question, is AEW as bad as so many are claiming that it is? Because full disclosure, BC has not been able to catch a Dynamite, not live and in totality, in a very long time. So there are many things that I am out of the loop with, and I just can't believe that this many people are this upset with the AEW product. At one time, not long ago, it was the cool thing. Everybody was talking and praising everything they do, right? Kissing the royal feet of AEW, and then all of a sudden, Vince is booted, Hunter Hearst Helmsley is in charge, and everybody went to the new cool thing. And it was like, everything Hunter Hearst Helmsley is doing, he's cooking. And I'm like, wait, Monday Night Raw ain't much better? Could AEW be that much worse than Raw? But you guys were going, yeah, BC, somehow it is. So I put up an upload a couple days ago, and was it yesterday? Well, one of the two. And Jimmy Fingers 19, and I had just gotten this recently, within the last couple of hours. I came across it, a $50 banger bomb. That is massive support to the channel. That's Starbucks Dunkin'. That's making sure BC is fully amped to deliver you guys content like this. So why you guys get so many uploads a week? It's because you guys are keeping BC amplified. So we just gonna keep rocking. But Jimmy Fingers 19, man, I fully appreciate that. You know that. And it was such an in-depth take on how... I want to give actually a quote from Jimmy Fingers 19. Toward the end of that super thanks, Jimmy Fingers 19 says, wrestling is ageless, but the reality is that it sucks across the board right now. And it is so... That's what I've been trying to preach on this channel, is knowing that that is the case, being real with ourselves, and trying to make the adjustments needed so that we can truly make professional wrestling great again. That's not a cute little catchphrase off of some little political jargon. We're trying to make wrestling really, really fun again, man. We're trying to make it the thing that we all fell in love with. The odd thing is, when you have passionate fans and, yes, critics like BC, and I do pride myself on being a legit, really good critic in this industry, you got people that just don't want to hear it. They just want to claim it's too negative. It's toxic for the community. We should start praising more and talking positively nonstop. But if the products are not producing enough things to talk about positively, then no, we cannot lie to one another, because they're going to keep on producing mid-AF garbage. And you're in the same position that we are in right now, but it's going to get worse. Ratings will keep declining. Fan interest will keep lowering. There'll be no excitement for pay-per-views, much less the shows themselves. And we know this because we've been in this sharp decline the last 10 years. So channels like BC, we're trying to help. We want to praise more. We want to talk more positive, but we can't. Shows are this bad. You see the discussion about AEW right now. If you're being honest, even if you're a big WWE fan, Monday Night Raw needs to be 89% better than it is right now. And I'm being generous with 89%. Because I think it's more like a Clorox wipe, 99.99%. So anyway, if you guys want a good read, go to Jimmy Fingers 19. I believe it was 2 uploads ago, because I put one up a few hours ago. That was my full review live of AEW. But 2 uploads ago, you guys can catch in the comments You'll see it's a $50 banger bomb. Super thanks, super chat. So it's in a color scheme, like a reddish color scheme. And you'll see Jimmy Fingers 19, and he gives some great insight, really good takes on why pro wrestling is damaged right now. And I also like how Jimmy Fingers 19 mentioned, because it's a huge elephant in the room, how there are so many tiny wrestlers today, and they're being pushed as nonstop main eventers. They're being pushed to beat people like Lance Archer or Braun Strowman or Powerhouse. At what point does it become not believable? And as BC recently said, what you're starting to get is just the era of fans, right? Most of these wrestlers were fans growing up, and so they're not that big anyway. They don't really care about hitting the gym. They're more into video games and stuff. And because they can do all the moves that they've done growing up on the trampoline in the backyard, they can do it in the ring. I guess that's what makes them main eventers. Well, it's destroying the product. It's a heavy conversation. A lot of fans don't want to hear it because they don't want to believe it. They want to believe what Cody Rhodes is telling them. This is the best era ever right now. The wrestling business is booming right now. No, WWE is financially making a lot of money. The business, the industry isn't. Ask Tony Khan if business is booming right now, even with the new TV deal, as they're about to move to smaller venues going forward and ticket sales are crippled. Ask Tony Khan, ask TNA, ask all the independents right now if the business is booming. No, Cody is lying. WWE is cashing in on everything that Vince has built for decades, and now they're literally cashing in. They're taking the product and they're hitting the road out of the U.S. and they're going all over the world. A lot of money there. They cashed in on decades of what was built, and now Netflix is going to give them $5 billion. But what happens is they start to smarten up, right? SmackDown smartened up. They gave them $1 billion, and then after their deal was done, Fox was like, check you, deuces, Zeus's. We never got a return on our investment. Numbers started going backwards. Interest was never there. People were bashing the product. We don't feel that Hunter was putting his best foot forward. That's what Fox was telling you. BC's dropping truth bombs today, brah. That's it. The coffee is flowing, as you can see, one after the other. So that just becomes amplified truth the more caffeinated we are. But that's what's happening, guys. And until we're honest with it. So that's why I love when, whether it's subscribers, channel members, maybe you're not even subscribed. You came across the channel, you support in other ways, right? Maybe you throw a coffee to the channel every now and again. Maybe you just smash the up every upload. I appreciate it. But just be honest, man, when you're having these talks and stuff. If you love pro wrestling, be honest. That's the only way we can make it better. But if you just sit there and go, man, yeah, they trashed the product, man. They're not fit. They're hate watching, man. Well, no. All the metrics, all the statistics, all the numbers, the ratings, everything tells you that this is all wrong right now. That there is no real creativity. That's the problem. So Jimmy Fingers 19, man, you brought up such valid points. It was such a good read. So not only do I appreciate, obviously, the coffees being chucked, the numerous coffees being chucked, but I respect and I appreciate the honesty and the insight that you delivered, because we need more of that. Just people being real and honest. That's the only way we make this better. Jimmy Fingers 19, I had to start this off with a massive salute. Thank you, bro. And I know you said that you don't catch the podcasts in the show as much or something like that because you're kind of just checked out of the wrestling world right now. But you still support the channel. You still come around every now and again. And dude, I appreciate that. The fact that you still go, oh man, I got to check in with BC, see how he, thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't blame you one bit. And it always sucks to hear that. I've been doing this several years now, guys. And for several years, maybe you wouldn't be, or maybe you would be, but you'd be surprised how many subscribers, current or past, come around and go, BC, just stopping in to say what's up. Sorry, I'm not in all the podcasts anymore. I just couldn't do it anymore, BC. I had to check out. The product just got so bad. The shows got so bad. WWE got so bad. AEW. I hear it all the time, and it sucks because I'm like, oh no, man. I always enjoyed having you guys as part of the unit, but I totally understand if it just gets so bad that it's a chore to get through. It's just you'd rather be doing anything else with your time. Playing in traffic would be better. then I totally understand. So never apologize for that. For sure. Jimmy Fingers 19. And again, NXT's report from JR9 Gaming went up in the upload we just put up a few hours ago, the AEW Watch Along Live review. JR9's NXT Weekly Roundup. So that's all the coffees being chucked at BC in the channel. Much appreciated. You guys know that. And with that being said, it's time to get into our first topic. WWE filing for the trademark Edge. So, what do you want to talk about? Well, Cody, we're going to talk about the E trademarking current AEW wrestler Adam Copeland's, we say old school name, but we always identify him as Edge. But that's going to stick with WWE. WWE has indeed filed for the trademark Edge. They want to keep that. So for now, on this day, Adam Copeland doesn't have his name. He will remain Adam. There hasn't not enough coffee yet. Keep drinking, NBC. That song will get better. For now, Adam Copeland will have to watch WWE make money on that name. There's two reasons this would be done. Now, the first one is kind of far-fetched. He's injured right now. When he comes back, he still has a lot of dates, a lot of time left with AEW. But a lot of people are speculating, could this be WWE wanting to move forward in the future with one last final run with Edge? Maybe there's talks behind the scenes, which would not be totally legal, by the way, because he is contracted to AEW. But a lot of people believe that they want to secure this now, make sure that when he is a free agent, you get him back in the fold, you give him the Legends deal, you just do everything properly to where you have this legend in your fold, right? That's what they like to do. Make sure that all the old school WWF, WWE legends are under wraps, right? WWE has their thumb on you. So not in the imminent future, but in the future, maybe they're setting that up. The second thing is the most obvious, and no matter what, this is absolutely at play. They don't want Adam Copeland making a dime off of this name going forward at any time, and they don't want Adam Copeland making a dime on anything that WWE invested into. And that name, Vincent felt this way. Hunter Hearst Helmsley has always felt this way, right? The apple doesn't fall that far from the tree, and he learned from Vincent Kennedy. That they look at as that is their possession. As wrong as that is, that's how they always look at their talent. We created this, that's going to be ours. Now you say, BC, there's nothing wrong with that. It's business. There's copyrights, there's trademarks. Edge was a WWE intellectual. That's it. It's theirs. And I totally get it. I hear you. I'm just saying. I mean, the dude's injured. You know, he would have loved to have worked something out like Cody tried to with the WWE back in the day, tried to get the Rhodes name. I mean, that's his father, his legacy. You're not going to get hurt if you give Cody the name Rhodes. So a lot of wrestlers have tried to work things out, right? We know that Adam Copeland has in the past. We know that the dude is injured and on the mend and trying just to get back to have a match. And you're going to slap him upside the dome piece with, by the way, you will remain Adam Copeland. You will never be Edge. No chance in hell, says Vincent Kennedy on the phone to Hunter. All right, Vince, I'll translate the message. Sorry, Adam. So WWE is keeping the name Edge. Again, that's going to make sure that Edge can never, ever be seen as Edge again, right? And if WWE, if and when they decide to try to get Edge again, they're already good. Hey, you want to be Edge? You're going to have to be Edge with us. So I know a lot of people were waiting for that trademark to come up, and they really thought, they were hoping that Adam Copeland was going to get that back. So hate to be the bearer of bad news, the Wade Barrett of the situation, but he did not get the name. WWE ended up winning out. That's it. No need to keep going on that story. I feel we already went about 3 or 4 minutes too long on it. WWE filed for Edge. Adam Copeland is Adam. That's it. That's the story. How do you like that? The stories get better, right? It's like a heavyweight fight, right? You have the undercard. This next story, this gets a lot better because this is a good thing. This is what AEW had to do. They had to do this. A lot of fans probably not happy about it. Makes them look bad in the short term, right? Up front, the optics don't look good. But AEW, they've already started doing this. They've actually canceled bigger venues to go to smaller. But in 2025, one of their big goals, they're going to book smaller venues. Because the attendance and the ticket sales was such a massive issue, Tony Khan could no longer turn a blind eye to it. That was word around the campfire. And sure enough, this report comes out soon after. So that shows you that those initial reports were accurate. And Tony Khan didn't really know. There was no other place to go. Sometimes you admit defeat and you get better. You do better. And for anybody thinking that this is just long-term defeat, like stick a fork in them, they're done because they're going backwards. Now they're going to have trouble probably even filling up the smaller venues. Don't even go there yet, man. Don't wish upon their failure, right? If you love pro wrestling, you want to hope. I'm hoping that you're hoping that they're going to succeed because a better AEW, a successful AEW will kick WWE's ass into a better product. So I never understood why people would not want the success of other promotions. But you guys have to remember that WWF, when they started Monday Night Raw, they weren't touring around the country, like selling out arenas and stadiums. WWF Raw, and I know a lot of you guys may be too young to even know this, but BC will fill you in. It used to come from a small venue. It was like the Manhattan Center here in the city. It was just a small venue, guys. It was like a little like square, and then there was like an upper deck, almost like you'd be watching like pickleball or so. You can't, not even tennis. It wasn't even big enough for a tennis match. But that's where Raw would emanate from. WCW used to run a ton of their shows from this little, but was it Orlando? Maybe it was like one of the like Universal Studios or something, but it was literally this small little studio, and they had a rotating ring, all these little gimmicks to try to make it look bigger, but it was a small little studio, guys. And when AEW started, they were running out of Jacksonville as a home base. I thought that was very smart. And then they just tried to do too much at once. They tried to branch out into big arenas from the jump, I felt. Then they started going, you know what? We got Dynamite. Let's have a second show. What are you doing, man? Even WWE, they waited years to get SmackDown after Raw. Once Dynamite hit the airwaves, Tony Khan was already thinking, hey, what about Rampage? And then when Rampage was not pulling in good numbers and Dynamite was hurting, instead of fixing Dynamite and thinking, do we even need Rampage? They thought it was a good idea to get a third show. Let's bring in Collision. Dude, Rampage is not pulling good numbers. Dynamite is going backwards. And you think a third show is the answer? Quality, not quantity. Quality over quantity. So there was a ton of mistakes where TK just tried to do too much too soon. This is a gigantic, really good step backwards. Go back to the roots. Small venue. And you guys got to remember, there was an organization called ECW back in the day. They were never able to really branch out to arenas. They stayed really, the 2300 arena, the ECW arena? They stayed in that small little bingo hall, and it was one of the best things we've ever gotten in pro wrestling. So you can do it. You can do it. You just got to put your best foot forward, deliver the best possible product. Fans will flock to it. The venue itself isn't going to turn people away. The lack of care is. If we see an arena full of 15,000 fans, but they're all silent, what does it matter if you had 15,000 fans? But if you're at a show that has 200-300 people, but they are loud and amplified, and they're rocking out, man, that's electric. I'm going to put that remote down. I got to see this. This is a good step backwards. It's not admitting defeat in the long term. In the short term, yes, and the optics are going to be bad. But this is the hole they dug for themselves. Now just dig yourself out of it. Don't keep digging. Tony Khan is smarter than that. I'm very glad that he's already downsizing, and I'm very glad that in 2025 they will continue to downsize. It's the right move in what is hopefully going to be the right direction. Damn, I'm on it today, guys. I usually am, but I just feel I'm like the wise man right now, right? I can debate Paul Heyman right now. Let's go. Put in Jim Cornette, right? Cornette, you got BC, you got Paul Heyman. This is a good one. Because it kind of pains me to say this. It's not really a hot take. It's the elephant in the room, right? I'm sure a lot of people are thinking this way. And it has to do with a big WWE female talent, literally. Ow. That Duncan's hitting, bro. Jade Cargill. If you follow this channel for any length of time, you know I put her up on a pedestal because I just see superstar. I just do. And I get it, guys. I get it. BC, she's really green. BC, she has so much farther to go, man. BC, she's just not getting all of this. BC, she's being tied to the hip of Bianca, like you always say. It's not helping Bianca. It's not helping Jade anymore. I get all of it. And you're right, because I say most of this. But she's a superstar. Look at the presence, guys. Look at her presence. Earthquake. Remember John Tenta? He was never going to hit the ropes and deliver a 30-minute classic for you. You were never going to talk about Earthquake's greatest matches in terms of wrestling technician and skills. But you looked at Earthquake and you said, yup, that's a top heel. I want to see him versus Hogan. I want to see him versus Warrior. Have him crushing Jake Roberts' snake and start a storyline with Jake Roberts. Put him with Typhoon. That's one of my favorite tag teams, the Natural Disasters, right? He was just a big dude. Like literally a big dude. So, that's all it takes sometimes. Andre the Giant just had to go in there and be Andre the Giant. He didn't have to do really anything, and that's a superstar. China could have been horrible. China just had to get in there, and you'd believe that China would beat Chris Jericho for the IC title, which didn't that happen, by the way? Maybe that's why I'm mentioning that. Something like that. There's certain people that come around and they're just like, yep, that's it. Now, I know we're living in an era now where all these dudes today seem to be 5'7", 165 pounds soaking wet. And that's the new top stars in the industry. But guess what? That's not always the case. Jade Cargill's a beast. She's a monster. She's a legit bona fide superstar. I absolutely agree. If you're going to rock with today's females, you do have to get better. So keep training, keep getting at it. Being tied at the hip and tied to the hands of Bianca is no longer benefiting her, though, I feel. And it's definitely anchoring down what Bianca could be doing. So they're going to have to come up creatively with something totally different for Jade Cargill. But she's a massive presence. That's obvious. The thing I questioned from the jump was, is her heart totally in this pro wrestling thing? We know she's busting her ass, training, trying to get better. I love that. That's a whole lot of heart. But if you listen to a lot of the things that she says, some of the moves that she makes, you have to question, is it all just kind of stepping stones to just get to a certain destination? Like a lot of wrestlers just want to be actors. Like that's their goal. And if they can use wrestling, right? A lot of females, it's just true, right? The Bellas will tell you this. Kathy Kelly, they've all done the same thing. They left for Hollywood. It didn't work and they came back. But so especially females, they try to just use WWE or pro wrestling as a stepping stone. Is Jade Cargill kind of, because she just signed with Paradigm, that's why I'm bringing this up. It's a big story. She had just signed with Paradigm. Paradigm kind of has this new sector, if you will. Tiffany Stratton's a part of it. A lot of WWE talent is signing with Paradigm. It's like a sports division within this talent management agency. So it was only a matter of time before Jade stepped foot in it. But you listen to recent interviews like Jade talking about how she knew it was going to be hard in WWE and a lot more work. She wasn't totally prepared for the travel. It's such a beating. And I always, just based on everything Jade would say in certain interviews, I always kind of lumped her with Brock Lesnar. One of the biggest reasons you don't see a lot of Brock was because he didn't want to travel. First big reasons he left WWE. He didn't want the travel schedule. to the point where his heart was not totally in this wrestling thing. To the point where if you had to travel a lot, deuces, oozes. He'll leave, and he did. Jade Cargill, I have to question, how long will she continue on with this type of travel schedule? I'll give you guys another example. Ronda Rousey. She loved pro wrestling, put her heart into it, right? The training, tried to get better by the week, by the day. But the travel and all of the work that it takes behind the scenes and constantly going to the gym and eating this way and doing this and that, she finally said deuces, oozes. She didn't like it. Jade is in that category. She has said many times she does not like that type of schedule. She likes to be home with the fam. That part of it is the down part for her. And I know it is for most wrestlers, but for somebody like Jade, it's amplified. How much longer do you guys feel Jade is really going to be a part of WWE or pro wrestling for that matter? Or would she go back to AEW? Would Tony take her back? Good money, less dates. I think that's the one thing she misses big time from AEW. She was getting good money, and it was a lot less dates, a lot less travel. But if she truly wants to get to another level, modeling-wise or acting-wise or anything like that, then I think she knew WWE had to be that vehicle. But with this announcement that she has indeed signed with Paradigm, congratulations to Jade, by the way. I always put her up on a pedestal. So much respect for her. She has signed, but she has been saying numerous times, and even recently, the travel, she's still trying to wrap her dome piece around it. We've seen people like Brock and Ronda Rousey and so many others say, check you, I ain't doing it anymore. Is Jade going to be another casualty to that? Time will tell, hopefully not. But huge news, congratulations to Jade. She has signed with the talent management agency, Paradigm. Tyson and Logan Paul. Now this is interesting, right? This should not be a hot take. This should not even be the elephant in the room. This is just obvious talk, right? Forget real talk, dropping facts and truth bombs. No, this is just obvious talk. There should be no debate about this. Logan Paul versus Mike Tyson at WrestleMania cannot happen because it will make everybody look like an idiot. That's it. BC mic drop. That's what I got for you guys, man. That's the big reason. Okay, I'll explain a little bit. So you have Mike Tyson have this fight with Jake Paul, this real fight supposedly, right? I have no reason to believe that it was staged. What I feel happened, guys, is that they're really good friends, which is true. They consider Mike family. And they knew they could make boats loads of money, boats with an S, many boats loaded with cash, and they did. So they said, let's do this fight, and let's just make sure nobody gets hurt, right? Mike, we know you're 58. Just all you got to do is last a full 8. I won't try knocking you out unless you're really laying into me. Then I'll throw some more stiff jabs at you. I'll throw some stiff uppercuts. I don't know what else stiff he's going to throw at him. But it never went to that. Mike Tyson never really, his legs were gone basically in the first round. So it became a really just bad, optics-wise, skill-wise, it was just a really bad fight. But I don't think it was staged. I don't think it was supposed to be like somebody was supposed to get knocked out. But circumstances changed the outcome. No, they were going to go in, actually hit each other for 8 rounds. But it was never going to be any type of knockout. And when Paul saw that Tyson couldn't actually go after just 1 round, it became what we saw. But Paul protected Tyson the whole time. At any point, Paul could have charged and knocked out Tyson. Tyson was immobile. His legs were gone. It's like Giancarlo Stanton for the Yankees trying to run the bases. He's an awesome home run hitter, and that's why we have him on the Yankees. Right? He goes for that knockout punch, and that ball, you ain't going to see it again. Same reason we tune in for Tyson. We know he's 58. We know his legs are probably going to blow up, but he's got that one punch that can knock the dome piece out of the stadium. Unfortunately, that just never even manifested to anything, and Paul had to dumb his skills down, and we got what we got. So then after the fight, they asked Tyson if he would do this again if the money was right. And he goes, what about this guy? Meaning Logan, right? And he knows Logan. Again, Mike is like family to them, Mike Tyson. So Logan jumps in and he cuts a tiny little line of a promo, right? Mike, I fucking kill you, bro. And Mike Tyson kind of giggles a little bit, and everybody believes those were the seeds planted for what is supposed to be a match between Logan and Tyson. Guys, if that was the original plan, which more than likely could be, I brought up in the cold open teaser in the past, Lesnar had a UFC fight. He was expecting to win that, go in front of The Undertaker, and they were going to set up a Mania match. But Lesnar lost. He was in no mood to do that. Walked by Taker, and Taker still tried to do it. And it just came off as really awkward. So I do believe that, yeah, maybe they were trying to set up something with Tyson, Logan Paul, WrestleMania. But because that fight with Jake Paul was so bad on Netflix, there's no way you can do it. Mike Tyson can't move past 60 seconds. And you want me to believe, or anybody to believe, that that dude's going to last or do anything with Logan Paul. Ain't going to happen. So Mike Tyson is going to look like an idiot. We're going to look like idiots fans for acting, playing along like this could even be a thing. But Logan Paul is going to look like the biggest idiot. Like he's actually in there. I'm just thinking about it. What are you possibly going to do? You would have to do like a street fight or something like that, right? Like you ever see Rocky V, where it wasn't the big fight, the main event fight wasn't for a title. It wasn't even in an arena, in the ring. It was a fight between Rocky Balboa and Tommy Gunn. And it was just a street fight. I mean, do you put Tyson in that scenario? That would be the only way this, I guess, would work. If it's a street fight, you take the damn silly gloves off, and Mike can hit you with a chain or a bat or who knows, right? Chuck you through a garage. But the reason that doesn't work is because Logan is too good at this wrestling thing. You can do so much with Logan Paul in the squared circle, and you're going to waste Logan Paul on a street fight? Guys, I know. Trust me. It's the reason I was so into watching Tyson take on Jake Paul. I just wanted to see Tyson again, man. Him in the storyline was the main event. The fight was the cherry on top. It sucks that it was that bad, but it's not going to tarnish the story that we just got with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. But you can't do it a second time in such a close amount of time. You can't now do the same thing where it's all storyline, but then they're actually going to have to fight, and you're like, wait, Mike Tyson can't even move. Doesn't make sense. This is not going to help. It's only going to hurt Logan Paul. And we're not going to believe, most of us, that Mike Tyson is right back at it. And this time he's whooping Logan's ass. So then fans are just going to look like idiots. Guys, as much as I put Mike Tyson up on the pedestal, and I will always watch what this dude does, because I love it. He's so believable. And that's why he's so good at storylines. In this case, nobody wins here, man. That is not the way to utilize Logan Paul. And it's sadly because Mike Tyson, there you go, more coffee, PC. Mike Tyson looks so damn poor in that Netflix fight with Jake Paul. If Tyson just showed more signs of life, more of a pulse, more beast, then absolutely, right? If his legs were blown up in the 4th or 5th round, maybe we can talk. But it was 8 rounds nearly. His legs were blown up after the first, in the first. So the whole fight, Mike Tyson was just done. He was cooked. Now you're going to start a multi-month storyline with Logan, and we're supposed to believe that Logan's going to get dropped? That's it, guys. You know that's a mic drop. That's obvious, and it sucks to say that. Anytime you get to see Mike Tyson WWE, I'd be down with it. Can't be Tyson Logan. If you want Tyson a part of Mania, we could still do it. Can't be Logan Paul. Logan's too good for that. There's no way that's believable. You guys know that. So that's the big reason. It's not a hot take. It's not talking about the elephant in the room. This is literally just an obvious conversation, an obvious outcome. There's no way. And if those are the plans, throw them to the wayside. Burn it with everything else that Hunter is burning in the kitchen when he's trying to cook every Monday night. Damn, PC. Damn, fast and HHH. But in all seriousness, guys, you can't do it. You can't. You want to do Tyson? Hey, do something. At this point, where Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, those are whipping boys, right? Just have them knocked out by Tyson in the parking lot. Do something like that. Street fight. Waller and Theory versus Mike Tyson. That could be fun. Lastly, guys. Oh, this is a good one. This is really good. TK. And I quote, most of the top black wrestlers in the world are in AEW. Okay, now, a lot of good ones, no question. Most? I don't know how you guys feel about that. Are most of the top black wrestlers on the planet in AEW? I don't know how you can say that because you probably don't know all of or not even near all of the top black wrestlers in the world. Just because he's probably just talking maybe WWE, AEW, throw in Japan, maybe another promotion or two. But guys, wrestling is way more broader than that. I think he should have left it when he said we have some, because the whole paragraph, he started by saying we have some of the best top black wrestlers in the world, something like that. But he used the word some. Okay, yeah, absolutely. And then he more than doubled down immediately, and he's like, and I quote, we have most of the top black wrestlers in the world. Now, no question, right? He's got Mercedes now. He's got Bobby Lashley, Powerhouse, The Party, Swerve. Now, I have to give the utmost credit and salute to Tony Khan for what he has done with Swerve. Something that Vince failed to do with a top black male performer. Hunter Hearst Helmsley has failed to do with a top black male performer. And that is literally give the full rocket to a top black talent, because that's what Tony Khan did with Swerve. And please don't try to bring up because I'm telling you right now, we've done our due diligence in history. There's been champions, there's been top storylines, there's been main events, but never the level of consistency in booking for a top male black athlete than Swerve and what AEW is doing with him. Never. And you can try to drop the name Rock all you want. Please, that is the biggest asterisk ever for many reasons, and you know that. Every time we talk about how WWE has botched so many top black athletes, males especially, big asterisk, male talent. Females will be another story. Everybody always wants to go, The Rock. Come on, man. Is that really all you have? That's what you're emptying in the arsenal? That's the hill that you want to fall on? The Rock? No, what they did with Swerve is so... You would just not see that with Vince. You had... Over time, there was these weird moments where maybe, right, you saw Ahmed Johnson and you were like, okay, he's rubbing shoulders and elbows with the Ultimate Warrior, right? Maybe Ahmed Johnson's going to be big. Ahmed Johnson had some issues, obviously, and he got booted pretty quickly. But you have to ask, how far was Ahmed really going to go, right? Or was he just going to wind up another Zeus? Bad News Brown. There were several times, if you guys remember the golden era, 80s into the early 90s, Bad News Brown, there were several times where Bad News should have been in the main events. Long-term storytelling. Big stories. And there was such a multi-month thing he could have done with Hogan. Instead, it was brushed over. I think he did a small thing with Hogan, maybe. He never got the multi-month main event push. He was never even consistent as a main eventer, never looked at as a main eventer. And there were several times, if you guys remember, that it called for him to go to the next level. I'm just giving you guys some examples, by the way, just over time. And you question, and then they get Bobby Lashley, and Vince is like, okay, we'll use you, but we can't really make you the guy. There were some moments where he was one of for a little bit, but Vince just never really gave Bobby Lashley the full run. And then Hunter Hearst Helmsley, obviously, he's completely lost with him. He didn't even want to work with Bobby Lashley. Lashley's like, I tried. He just didn't want to. And he let the contract, and it was like, all right, that's it. Lashley just gave another interview. He said, I really wanted to end with the WWE, actually. They just didn't want to. Hunter just let it expire. Hunter didn't want to work with me. So you just, there's all these examples of what should have been different, right? I mean, when they got Ron Simmons, how do you put a weird helmet on his head and call him Farouk? How do you do that? You can't do that. When Mello gets to your roster, there's no way you can put him on this weird little losing streak. The guy's catchphrase is literally Mello don't miss. So his booking is miss every week, miss every match. Stop. And then you go over to, Montez. Don't even get me started on how criminally misbooked he's been in WWE. Montez is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. You'd never know it because he's got silly red cups falling on his head and he's dancing, making you laugh, right? He's entertaining you. He's putting a smile on your face. Look it. They're dancing. Because that's the gimmick you give Crime Time and Prime Time Players and the New Day and the Street Profits. Gets old, man. Gets old. Kofi Mania thankfully erupted, right? Kofi Mania was something special. That was organic from the audience, right? They weren't planning that in that gauntlet match. Didn't Ricochet get injured or something like that? Or Ali. I think it was Ali. You guys remember Mustafa Ali? Ali got injured or something. Kofi was like a replacement, and they just said, let's just run the gauntlet with him, right? And let's try to make something out of this. And the fans just overnight were like, that was epic. And we just absolutely rocked with Kofi. But they didn't know what to do with him once he got the title. That was pretty clear. That wasn't just the fans turning on Kofi immediately or just getting bored. Some of it, yes, we do live in a microwave society. But most of that, if you go back, that was misbooking. Misjudgment, once again, in the creative process, or lack thereof. I could keep going on and on. The point is, I'm so glad that they, this thing was kind of organic too, but Tony Khan's like, screw the plans, if he even had any, who knows. Go, dude, go. You got it all. I'm going to give you anything you need right now. Your rocket is already taken off. Let me give you any added spark you need. What do you need? Fuel, gasoline, a boot in the ass, whatever you need, I'm going to give it to you. And Swerve became something massive in this industry. That's awesome, dude. But going back to the original thing here, does AEW have the what's the exact quote? Most of the top black wrestlers in the world. They have a lot of good ones with potential, like I said, like Hobbs. Ones that absolutely at any given moment could be not just the main event, but hoisting up titles like Bob Lashley. Dudes that have captivated the wrestling world in feuds with like Hangman Page, and we're talking about Swerve. So there's no doubt they're there. In the female side of things, they had Jade Cargill. Again, I know, green, and maybe you're not using her as top wrestler in the world, but that presence is still screaming superstar. But they do have one of the best wrestlers on the planet. That is Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks. So they do have that. They have Athena, even though it's under the, I believe, still the ROH banner. They have one of the best female wrestlers on the planet. Her name is Athena, formerly known as Ember Moon. You probably just don't know that because they hide her in the abyss. But, I mean, he has really great black talent. There's no question. But so does WWE. It's just they're not used maybe as properly. But you do have Montez. You do have the Mellos. You do have the Biancas. You do have talent. I believe Cedric is still there, too. Maybe he's on speed. But Cedric has immense talent. Can he go to that next level? I don't even know, because I feel like Cedric has never really had the opportunity, Nothing that a Hurt Business could have gave him or anything like that. I feel like you just don't know. Xavier, we're still pending his big push. Big E had a big run with the title. Fortunately, misbooking affected him as well. Kofi had a run. Misbooking affected him as well. Xavier never really got to that yet. But my point is, there's so much great black talent in WWE as well. So I guess the conversation would have to switch to which top black talent is being booked properly. And then does Tony Khan have a leg to stand on? Would Tony Khan win that award? You know what I mean? Major award. But it's a heavy statement. I don't know if that can be a factual statement, right? It's a very subjective statement. But when you say you have most of the top black wrestlers, that would mean that you would have to know all of the top black wrestlers on the planet. That's impossible, bro. As big of a fan that Tony is, I doubt very much that he knows most of the black wrestlers on the planet, much less all the top black wrestlers. I don't know, man. I have to at least question that, guys. But I'm at least giving the utmost props to how he's booked Swerve. I think that's one of the coolest stories in a very long time, and a great representation for the black community, no question. Because for a lot of fans, including BC, that came out of nowhere, man. You kind of saw what he was in WWE, and you're just like, even though you know a lot of that was Vince and the booking, it's like, does he really even have it, though? I don't know if Swerve's the guy. No, he did. And it's really cool to see the promoter go with it. Whereas, like, when Vince would do it with Kofi Mania, it was kind of like you got the title, and I was like, all right, that's it, dude. That's what we got for you. We'll wait till you fizzle out with some poor booking, and then can you just go back to the New Day? Can you dance? What's his name again? Tell him to get his trumpet. What is your, Xavier? Yeah, get your trumpet, thank you. Get your trumpet or you're fired. That's what I got for you guys, man. This was probably one of my favorite uploads, amped up shows in a very long time. I don't know why. I was just feeling it extra in this one, man. Until next time, there will be that next time. Survivor Series is next Saturday, correct? So we are getting close, man. Monday night is going to be the go-home show already. So you got Full Gear this Saturday. I hope to catch that somehow and give you guys, even if it's a condensed review, I want to give you guys my thoughts on Full Gear, which is this weekend, Survivor Series next week. So we're going to end November fully amplified. So until next time, and there will be that next time, BC in the unit saying, check you. Salut!